Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Renuka and this is a safe place where we talk about mental health, well-being and leveling up, especially as a woman. So today I'm going to talk about the 5 signs that you are suffering from CPTSD. Intro about what CPTSD is. CPTSD is nothing but complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So we have all heard about post-traumatic stress disorder, which is in psychological terms because of the capital T, where you have had an event or a traumatic event, incident in your life, which leaves a lot of stress in your life, after it. Whereas CPTSD is something which is small t, it is not an event, but actually these are incidents, a lot of incidents happening over a long period of time, leaving a very drastic conditioning and lasting survival and coping behaviors, which are not very productive as you become an adult. Most of the CPTSD is happening because of your childhood, and it leaves a lasting behaviors which really prevents you from reaching your full potential. The number one common sign that you have a CPTSD is emotional flashback. Just like PTSD, there could be a lot of incident from your past in your childhood that might be a trigger for you, and whenever you sit and think about those events, it makes you emotional, it makes you sad, it triggers you, it causes you some kind of a discomfort in your whole body. It could be just as simple as looking at your childhood pictures and feeling a repulsive reaction, like pushing it away. You don't want to see your childhood pictures, or something like getting reminded of something, of an incident from the past through smell or some kind of a memory is triggering, and that is an emotional flashback. Most often in case of CPTSD, sometimes you don't even remember the memory, but you still have the coping mechanism which makes you shut off, or which makes you have an instant reaction without you knowing the reason why you're doing that. The next common sign is hypervigilance, and all the stress that you suffered throughout your childhood, all of that creates a lot of cortisol in your system. And all this cortisol makes you very, very hypervigilant, in a sense that you are always on high alert. You are always suspecting, and you are always looking out for danger. And how it reflects in your adulthood is that it makes you very, very susceptible of not taking any kind of risk, or it makes you very susceptible for not trusting people. It makes you very, very alert of danger, and you end up being a person who is always looking out for danger. It's a very limiting kind of a feeling where you're living your life without having trust in your surrounding, around people. And there's this sense of being unsafe and being on the edge all the time. And a very, very quick giveaway of this, of a person having hypervigilant, is if you get startled very easily, that means you are technically on hypervigilance and you are going through CPTSD. The next very common sign that you are going through CPTSD is having negative self-talk. And this is so easily and commonly seen in women, that they have a lot of negative self-talk going on, not only verbally, but also in their head. And this is caused when a lot of shame, a lot of guilt, and worthlessness. And when you tend to blame yourself for every situation, it is a cumulative effect of all of these emotions. So when you find yourself saying like, I'm so clumsy, or I don't even know how to do this simple thing. So sometimes we say these things aloud in a very funny way, but a lot of times when we do make a mistake, there is this conversation going on in our head. And this conversation is almost like somebody else is telling us that you don't even know how to do this. And this comes from a childhood where the parents have been very critical of the child and always have been telling the child that you're not good in this, you're not good in that. And it becomes like a coping mechanism that child starts saying the same thing to themselves. And as they grow up, they have this kind of a negative self talk going on always. In a way, it is effective, especially when you were in your childhood. It was a coping mechanism and it was good for your survival at that time because it helped you to not make a lot of mistakes. But as you grow up, the problem it makes is it creates a very negative self concept. And it's true that it will help you not to make mistakes. But the self concept that it's creating is that you always make mistake, that you're worthless, you don't deserve this. And this kind of a self thought or self concept is very limiting. So a lot of time you will see women who would do things for others and they will think that they're sacrificing or they're being nice, but actually it's creating a lot of resentment in them. So a negative self-concept, a negative self-talk is a very clear sign that you have CPTSD. The fourth sign is difficulty trusting people. This also stems from being hypervigilant. So you are less likely to trust people. How this manifests in your adulthood is when you have difficulty trusting people, it is very difficult for you to have or sustain good relationships with people. And these kind of relationship can be romantic relationship, work related relationship, because you have an image in your head and you see everybody should fall into that image. And when they don't, you take them out of that and put them in the bad category. So it's a very white or black kind of a thing. It's hard for you to accept that there could be gray shades. And the inability to trust people also comes from the fact that you have difficulty in maintaining healthy boundaries. So because you are unable to express your needs in the right way without having a meltdown, you find it very difficult to creating healthy boundaries. More often than not, in your childhood, you were suppressed or you did not have safe environment to express your needs. And because of those unmet needs, you create a pattern when even in your relationship, you expect your partner to guess what you need, number one. Number two can be that you always suppress your needs and you keep your partner's needs above your needs. And eventually it creates a lot of resentment in you, thinking that you're always sacrificing. And this one little thing that you ask your partner or expect your partner to do it for you, and he's unable to do it. So people with CPTSD, it's very difficult for them to understand that by discussion, there could be a third solution. It cannot always be your way or highway or your way or your partner's way. There could also be a third solution where both of your needs can be met. So for a person with CPTSD, in terms of boundaries, in terms of needs, they think that if their needs are not met, that means their partner's needs are to be met. If your partner's needs are not to be met, that means their needs can be met. So they think that if one person's needs are met, that means the other person is going to sacrifice. Another clear sign of CPTSD is dissociation. And this is very difficult to grasp because a lot of time people don't think that they are dissociating, but they think that it's just the way they are. So an example of dissociation is when you get scolded by somebody or somebody talks to you in a very loud or harsh way. And in response to that, you go blank. You don't know what to say. You can't think of any words to say. And you have left your body and there is no response. Your brain, your body is not connected. So you don't know how to respond to it. And that is dissociation. It's a feeling of zoning out. This is a feeling of being disconnected from reality. Sometimes people use it as a way of going into fantasy and escaping the reality. So that, again, it's another way of coping. So in your childhood, if any adult scolded you or shouted at you, and it was better for your survival to not answer back, then that became a coping mechanism and that became a pattern. So even in your adulthood, when you technically perceive everybody as equal, but if you in your mind put people in authority position, and if you find anybody scolding you or talking back to you in a very rude way, you fawn. You don't know what to do. You are literally in a freeze state where you don't know how to reply to that person. So you dissociate from your body and you dissociate from your reality and you just don't know how to answer back. So these were the 5 signs that are very common with people with CPTSD. But remember, CPTSD is more common than you think, and everyone deserves to live a fulfilling life. You can always reach out for support, and you can always undo those dysfunctional patterns and continue to live a more fulfilling life. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like it, do share with your friends you think it would be helpful, and subscribe and watch out for other videos. Thank you.